I mean, we have no representation on the school board. Where the school sits, it sits in Rio Arriba, and where the majority of the population for Lybrook, we all live in Sandoval, or I think it's, well, they call it checkerboard area. So there's a bunch of county lines here and there. So in order for you to be a member on the school board, you have to be a resident of Rio Arriba County. And nobody out here lives in Rio Arriba County.
And the school district has been in this environment for a very long time. We all shop in Cuba, New Mexico. We all attend the high school events together. Our children play sports together. You know what needs to be done to make it right at Lybrook Elementary School. Yes, we have to think of the whole entire school district. But if there's one piece of that puzzle that is different, you have to work with them. You have to. Not just because of the ethnicity of that school, but because of the way the school is learning. The school needs to be put in a way to be better for the students of that school.
It just feels, to me, in my personal opinion, is the lack of respect that this community gets, you know, from the school district. They don't take everybody out here, you know, serious. I've brought up concerns with them through emails, but, you know, and I've spoke at board meetings, but it just, to me, in my personal opinion, it feels like it just goes on deaf ears. And then when walking around the facility, you know, you start to realize that it's not supplied as well as they are in like schools in town. So, you know, you see that there's the lack of books, you know, lack of papers, you know, so simple necessities that children need, you know.
Everything was frozen, and our lunch lady said that they wouldn't allow her to make homemade meals, which I didn't understand. That was a problem. Some of the milk, a lot of the time, was expired.
My son has come in home multiple times with a headache and saying he felt sick, and I thought he was just being a kid not wanting to go to school. And then he's like, there's a smell coming from one of the classrooms. They just covered that, there's a hole in one of the classrooms, and he says there's just a bucket covering it to not let it smell so much.
My son's been complaining a lot about headaches, like him having headaches and everything. But the thing too is that they don't have a nurse there that can provide like medication to them, and they don't want to listen to the kids of what they have to say. They just like just shut them out of them not saying anything about how they feel, you know.
Since I've been speaking up at board meetings, you know, advocating for not only my children, but for the children here in my community, they hit me with a notice of trespass. So now I am no longer allowed on school campus or allowed at school board meetings, just for the simple fact that, you know, I'm an advocate.
If a member of the community speaks up, whether it's a teacher, whether it's staff, or whether it's parents, they're treated like an outcast. They're either terminated or they're banned from the school. And so other teachers and other people see that, and that's where the fear comes in.
Getting an actual parent that has kids at Lybrook on the school board is what would change everything. Having a parent on the school board would give Lybrook a louder voice. They would get, a parent on the school board would be able to get the stuff that we've been asking for years. And then being on the school board would give that uplift to Lybrook. And the community would know, someone on the school board would have Lybrook's back and the community's back.
So the lack of representation, you know, there's nobody at the school board meetings fighting for us or even taking in consideration of what Lybrook truly needs, because they don't see it on a day-to-day basis. They don't hear about it from parents, you know, as much as they do in Guyana.
We just want our kids to get educated, you know. We want our kids to be somebody. We want our kids to be a lawyer, something like that.
My son told me he wants to be a welder or an iron worker. My daughter wants to be a teacher. So I'm like, do it, follow your dreams, just keep learning, that's all you can do.
Well, I mean, the big one would be for them to graduate and go to college and get a degree and, you know, learn something in the world and come back and give back to, you know, the community to make our community better. I think of it as my community. You know, I want something that I can say that I'm proud of in my community, like a school, a kindergarten through 8th grade, which is Lybrook. That would be a perfect example. You know, that would be something I could brag about. Oh yeah, my kids went to Lybrook, and you know, it's an amazing school, even though it's such in a small community, and you know, it's so far out from everywhere else. But my kids, they got a good education from it, and you know, the other children in my community, they can also say the same thing. So that's the reason why I do it. I fight for the kids that don't have that opportunity, the parents that can't afford that opportunity because they're being left out.